Hello, Jen here with a Tuesday's inspiration layout for you. This is a series that we do weekly, myself, Holly, Mel, and Lynda, where we pick an inspiration. Here is this week's inspiration, and we all create a layout kind of using that inspiration image. So for the month of May, we're doing color palettes. So this is the color palette that Holly picked out, and I instantly thought I'm gonna pull out my October daily from 2025. I'm using the Curiosities at Willow Grove collection, or I guess like it's the Halloween assortment pack that I got. That's the collection that was designed for 49 and Market by Vicky Booten, and it has those same colors, the purples and the navies, and kind of like the reds that are a little more pinkish, and then of course the oranges and the yellows. So I grabbed out the pack that I have, and I grabbed out my album, my little October daily album, and then I also pulled a bit of cardstock. I wanted to bring in some of that kind of darker navy because I feel like there's definitely some darker navy in that kind of leaf image. And then I pulled some yellow just to have some like straight yellow, and one more piece of cardstock that's a little bit more on kind of the purpley pink. And yeah, I'm just gonna do a couple of my days. So I'm keeping this album really simple. It's already super chunky. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of surgery on it to kind of extend its sides a bit so that it closes properly. So I'm not doing too much extra embellishing. I'm sticking to just this collection. I'm not really adding in any extras except the numbers. When it comes time to actually put the numbers in, I will have to go and find those. But everything else is just kind of basic. And so what I really wanted to aim for is just little pops of all of the colors that are kind of represented in the color palette. So the album itself, I do have a video kind of showing you how I've put it all together. It's a craft treat album, so you get the kit and you get the instructions, and all of the pieces come pre-cut and pre-scored, and you just have to stick everything together and kind of create the album and then add your own papers. So there is a video for all of that, and it had 4 tags in it, and so I thought this is a good opportunity for me to go ahead and create a bunch of my days and kind of follow this color palette. It will also spread the colors out because the way that I have it set up, the tags all appear kind of spread out from each other so the days aren't all clumped together. And yeah, I'm just gonna have some fun adding a few layers in behind, a couple little embellishments on each of the pictures. Nothing too complex, just, you know, kind of throwing things together. I'm really trying to stick with just what's in the pack that I got. So in the Halloween assortment, you get 12 by 12 papers, you get a 12 by 12 sticker sheet, and then you get 3 sheets of their like beautiful laser die cuts. And so I'm just trying to stick with those. And because it is the Curiosities at Willow Grove kind of larger collection, it definitely has all of those elements that you get in the standard collection. So the mushrooms or toadstools and the frogs, and the art kind of follows that collection as well. So if you were using that for your album, like for the year, you would just incorporate this extra assortment kit into the rest of your collection. It all kind of matches. So I'm trying to stick with the images and the die cuts and stuff that are there. So just working with the words that are already there. I might have to go and dig out some extra things when I'm getting down to the last few stickers and things like that. Obviously, some of the little words and phrases, if they aren't going to work, they just aren't going to work. But for the most part, I'm going with what I have. So I'm just making it work to make it a cute little album. So I have a picture on the front and the back of each of the tags. I didn't want to start adding extra tags and kind of, again, adding extra bulk. So wherever I can, I'm using the backs and fronts of pages and tags and things like that to keep the layers a little bit down. But I wanted to add lots of nice layers on all of these so that you get a sense of what the color palette is. And I think it works good having the cardstock. I don't know why, but color palettes, usually when they have the swatches on the side, they're sort of a solid color. And so it would make sense, I think, for a lot of people to go and grab cardstock, which is those solid colors or as close to those colors as possible. But I tend to always try to grab pattern paper, and so I have to remind myself that I do have a lot of cardstock, and it's, okay to use that cardstock. So this got a few different cardstock colors kind of worked into the mix, and I think that worked out good because there isn't a lot of space. So if I'm trying to cram a bunch of patterns into that small bit of real estate, it definitely could get overcrowded and just, look more like a giant tag of mush rather than a picture that has a story and stuff. I don't do any journaling either. You'll notice on all of these, I haven't put the numbers on and I haven't done the journaling. When I flip through my album in a little bit, there are some blank spaces where I decided not to add photos because I wasn't sure when I was printing them out if there might end up being extra pictures I wanted to throw in, or if there was going to be, some ephemera or something that I wanted to use. But I do have spaces where I don't have any pictures that I think I'll go ahead and use for little bits of journaling. So all the days will have numbers, and then I'll just write some journaling. I haven't decided if I want to do like a full bullet form or numbered journaling so that there's an explanation for each photo, or if I just want to do sort of a general little bit of journaling and explanation about the whole month, or just certain pictures that I think might warrant a better explanation than what I might remember just from looking at the picture. Like, for example, I do want to make sure that I remind myself that I used a photo prompt for this month. And so a lot of the photos, well, all of them actually, follow the prompts in that photo prompt that I used. I do have that included, so you will be able to see that, but somewhere I will definitely want to journal and just remind myself so that some of these pictures, like this one specifically, I'm probably, 10 years from now going to want an explanation or a reminder of why I took pictures of apple cider and I think it's like peach. I can't remember what that cider is. It was delicious, whatever it was, but I'll probably want to remind myself why I took that picture and what the importance of it was, if there was a story behind it, or, that kind of thing. So I haven't fully decided. I'll get all the pictures done first, and then I can go back and kind of add in those extra little tidbits. Obviously, right now, I still remember from 6 months ago what everything means, but eventually that's just what happens, right? The other thing I didn't do is I didn't add any ribbon or ties or anything to my tags yet because I'll just wait until the end so I'm not getting, extra bits kind of caught on anything as I'm opening and closing this and fiddling around with all the pieces. So eventually I'll do that too. And I don't know if I might have to maybe alter the band a little bit and maybe add some ribbon to extend it or something. So when it comes time to actually make those decisions, I will go ahead and, add those extra details. I just kind of for me, I feel like sometimes these month-long projects, because I don't have a printer where I'm printing the photos out every day and just doing a little bit every day, I'm always working behind. And so, not that I get bored with my life, but you do get bored sometimes. You do a couple pages, or you do a couple days, and then you want to kind of move on to something else. And so I feel like what works really good for me with these situations is to work in steps like this. So the first step obviously was putting the album together, or if you weren't creating an album from scratch, just finding the album that you want, finding the collection that you want to use, or the supplies that you're going to use. And then my next step is to print all of my photos and then organize them and put them into the pages where I want them to go. So in this case, I had all of the album set, and so I just tucked my photos in to the little pockets and kind of assigned the spots where I wanted them to go, and then they're all tucked together in that album. And then after that, obviously the next step is you start putting those pages together. And so now, if it takes me a couple of days, or if it takes me the rest of the year, at least I have everything organized and kind of put together. If I was doing this in a page protector album, which I've shown you, especially for some of my December dailies, I've shown you how I do that, or even my Project Life albums. I will put all of the pocket pages into the album and organize the photos so that they're just tucked into their pockets. If there's one that I don't want to have in a pocket, I want it to be a full-sized page of whatever the size of the album is. I usually tuck that into a 4x6 album, or a 4x6 pocket, facing the side that I want it to go. So I have it facing towards me if I want it to be on the right hand side, and I will flip it so it's actually backwards if I want it to be on the left hand side, just because pockets only open on one side. So I have my own little kind of system, and I can figure it out, and then that way I don't feel like I have the pressure of having to get it all done right away. So if I do get bored, that's my ADHD brain, if I do get a little bit bored and I put it away, I don't feel like when I pull it back out, I won't remember what's going on, or, what I'm doing. I'll even tuck little Post-it notes in if there was a specific product or a specific bit of journaling or something like that I really wanted to remember, or an idea I had for the page. I could write that down too. And so I will put my little Post-it notes in there, and then I just kind of pull things out and work on them as I feel inspired to do it. And I am falling a little bit behind. I know I've said a few times that I really plan to kind of focus a little bit more and get my December dailies done, get my travel albums done, and get my October daily albums done. So I've been doing that quite a bit this year. But ultimately, if it doesn't happen this year and I'm still working on it by next year, at least it's organized to the point where I know I can kind of pull it out, do a couple pages, and then put it back. I also think this system is working for me too, where I kind of have an idea for one page, or in this case, it's the tags. I'm using the color palette as my kind of jumping off point, my inspiration. And then I'm going to create all 4 tags front and back with those same bits and pieces. So you can see, it might feel like I'm being a little stingy cutting those pieces in half and just only using little bits of them, but it's just to kind of make those supplies that are right in front of me in that moment stretch, and then kind of use the momentum of my creative energy to get going through all 4 tags. That way I'm not, doing one little thing, then putting it back, then having to pull it out, almost sometimes feeling like you're starting from scratch when it comes to creativity. And so in this way, I'm getting as much done as possible without having to fuss too much or make it feel like a chore. So on that same note, for May coming up this week, I have been doing May I Scrap Lift You with my travel album. So I'm literally just going through day by day each person, finding the layout that I like, that I want to scrap lift, and creating my little 6x8 pages for my travel album. And I feel like I'm getting a bunch of them done because I'm using the same supplies. Oftentimes I'm making one page and then the next page will be a lot of the leftovers and little bits and pieces from the first page. And I'm trying to mix them all up so that it doesn't look like I've intentionally done one page and then used leftovers for the next page. But, so they won't all sit necessarily back to back with each other. But I'm getting a bunch of pages done while I have all the supplies out. And then, I can move on and do some other stuff. And so I think for this album, I will get a lot of it done with the May I Scrap Lift You. And then I think I will move and go back to 30 days of sketches, because I actually didn't get any of those done, and I really do try to get them all done at some point. So you'll probably see those dotted in throughout the summer as well as I finish that album, and just, pay homage to a lot of my favorite scrappy friends that inspire me every day. But that is it for these layouts. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Click subscribe if you haven't already, and please go check out Lynda and Hollie and Mel's work as well. All their links are down below, and I will see you again next time. Thanks so much. Talk to you later. Bye.
Subscribe my channel.